Welcome to Spenelli Speaks. Hello! I am really excited about today. I am already fearful that I'm going to hyperventilate because I have a lot to talk about and I don't want this video to be super uber long, so I'm really sorry, but if later I am kind of like talking too fast, it's because of that. I'm trying to get as much as I can in a very short window because I don't want you to have to sit here for too long. I read 14 books in May. Oh my gracious. I think that is an all-time high. 14 books. Now they're all kind of a mishmash. So I read 1 ebook, 3 audiobooks, 1 being a classic, 1 being YA, 1 being romance. I read 7 full-length novels, 3 middle grade, 1 memoir, 3 adult fiction. I read 1 novella, I read 1 comic book, and I read 1 cookbook. That's 14 books. I can't believe it. So I'm going to jump right in because I'm going to try to make this as swift and as painless as possible. So jumping right into our 3-star books. First being Emma, which is a classic by Jane Austen. Really liked it. I gave it a 3 because I feel like it was super long. Although it was very good, it just was so long and I didn't feel like it needed to be that long. I still appreciate it just as much. It's more of a, historical insight. You really get to see, the time and how people, interacted then. There's a lot of, information about transportation in this book. All I can say is I'm really happy that I was a total crazy person about Clueless when that came out, because I watched that movie so many times that the entire time I was listening to Emma, I was so thankful because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Elton, okay, yeah, okay, and then that's that, okay, yeah, and then that's, oh, he's Mr. Knightley. So it was nice to have seen an adaptation, which now, hindsight being 2020, that was a pretty good adaptation. So 3 stars goes to Emma. Next on my 3-star list, I have an ebook that was read with my book club, and that was Beauty and the Beast, Lost in a Book. I gave this a 3 because it was good. It was a light read. It was okay. I just feel like because it was a story within a story, basically Belle finds a book in the library and gets to walk into it, and there she finds a story that she's wanting to kind of live, and you find out that that's probably not good. However, because it's a story within a story, you know that it's going to have a happy ending, so you're not really that worried for Belle when she starts to get a little stuck. So I just gave it a 3. I don't know that I will move forward in any of the other Disney-related books because I've also read one of the Twisted Tales, the Part of Your World, which is the Little Mermaid one, and I really didn't like that one. So I think I'm probably gonna move away from Disney. Anywho, the last 3-star book I read was Bringing Down the Duke. And that is this book here by Evie Dunmore. Really nice historical fiction. It's about the beginning of the suffrage movement in England, London specifically. It's about a woman, and I can't remember her name, Annabelle. She is one of the first women admitted into Oxford University, which, by the way, is not in London. It is 2 hours, to the, east? And not in London. I feel like in the beginning, the book kind of makes it feel like it's right in London. It's not. Anywho, good historical romance. I feel like it had some unique pieces, which were nice. Overall, I gave it a 3 because there were a few historical things that kind of irked me that I felt were like inaccurate. I also felt like a few of the scenes were straight out of other books I've read. For instance, there's a few pieces where I felt like it was very reminiscent of 50 Shades of Grey. And I'm not talking about like sexual scenes, but there's a scene where there is a painting, and it really reminded me of in 50 Shades of Grey when Mr. Grey comes in to the photo shoot or whatever and then buys up all of the pictures with whatever her name, Anastasia. I can't remember what her name was in that, but so it was very reminiscent of that. So I was like, oh, that's redundant. And then there's also a scene at the very end of the movie, or at the end of the book, that felt very much like one of the boat scenes in 50 Shades of Grey. So I was like, that almost like seems exactly like a different book. So I don't like that. And I know it can't be helped. A lot of the times there's like how many plots that you can actually do, but like when it's a scene just brings you back to another book, I just don't like that. So that's why I gave this one a 3. Is it good? Heck yeah. If you like historical romance, definitely pick this up. It was very nice. The characters very much reminded me of Pride and the Prejudice, very much a Liz Bennet and Mr. Darcy for sure. So again, kind of reminiscent of another book, but still very good. So if you like that kind, it's excellent. And the steamy bits, they're pretty good. There's not a ton of them, but they're well done. So that I gave a 3 as well. Then into the 4-star books. The first 4-star that I read was actually a novella, which was Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. I really liked this, guys. I was afraid walking into this book that I was going to hate it and that it was going to be just misogynistic drivel, because I think Ernest Hemingway is one of those man's man kind of writers. And he is, I think, but I look past that, and Una, you know what I'm talking about. I look past that and really appreciated the man versus nature in this. I am not a nature reader. However, the fight between the old man and this fish and the sharks and just his appreciation for them was just, I just remember while I was reading it feeling giddy reading it. And I don't get like that with a lot of classics. I don't get giddy thinking about just anyone else reading it and just like, I wonder how other people felt. I don't get like that very often. So I did appreciate that. I did give it a 4 because there were some bits where it just kind of like went on and you're like, can you just get to the point? But I think that's just Hemingway himself. This I think is my first reading of a Hemingway. I would like to try others of his. He does have quite a bit more, obviously. I actually am more interested in his real life. His life is so interesting that I think I'd rather pick up a nonfiction and read more about him than I would like to read his work. But obviously, if you enjoy the author, you want to see what kind of writer they are. So that's why I picked this up. It's a really short novella, simple, easy. So I did actually like this one quite a bit. So I gave that a 4. The next 4 I gave was for a cookbook, and that was Bob's Burgers Burger Book, and I did a rapid review about this a little bit ago. I just love this, guys. It's so fun. It was very well done, I feel. I loved all the illustrations within the book, and there's just, in every recipe, there's just little tiny jokes that you really get if you are a Bob's Burgers fan. Now, there's some controversy over favorite characters, but I stand by my Jean as my favorite character. So you know who you are. So that is definitely a 4 there. I also gave the comic book. So I also read a comic for Emma, and I gave this a 4. This, you guys, was super helpful after listening to Emma, after reading Emma, when I went through this was so helpful to place in my mind who was who. And the illustrations themselves, I don't know if the camera will pick these up. I just absolutely loved the vibrancy and the, the characters in here. I felt it was so well done. I will say it took me a little while to decipher between Emma and Harriet, because in here they were very similar in their illustrations. So that took me a little bit to figure out, like, wait, is that Harriet or is that Emma? But overall, this was a great piece to go along, a companion to go along with Emma. I really enjoyed this. And this author, so Nancy Butler and Janet Leigh, they have a couple of more that they have done of Jane Austen. So they also have Pride and the Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility. I think they have Mansfield Park and Northanger Abbey as well. But I would like to look for those because I really liked this a lot. So that I also gave a 4. The next on my 4s list was an audiobook, which was Penny Reid's Truth or Beard. I really liked it. It was so good. The narrators for the audiobook, they did a female voice for the female character, and then they did a male voice for the male character. And let me tell you, I was like in love with this guy. His name was Dwayne, and it was all in like Southern accent because they're from Tennessee, and it was just so good. Like, and it's a romance novel. It's nothing like literary by any means, but just the dynamic between the two characters. Basically, the series is the Winston Brothers series. This is the first one in the series, and the two main characters grew up together basically, but they seemingly despised each other. Well, come to find out in their adulthood, she did despise him technically. She was in love with his twin brother, and then he was always in love with her, and then things get steamy. That's all I'm gonna say. It was really good. I enjoyed it. The courtship between these two was really, interesting. There's a whole element with like a biker bar and some shady stuff going on, so that was interesting as well. I'm really excited to move on to more in the series because there are a couple of Winston brothers, and I'm excited to learn more about them. So there's Beau, and then there's one, what is his name? It was something with a C, and I was just like, I wanna know more about that one. I can't remember what his name is now. I forget about it. So that definitely I gave a 4. The next book I gave a 4, I did do a full review and I'll link that above, but that was Abbi Waxman's I Was Told It Would Get Easier. I don't have the physical copy with me right now because I did lend it out to my mother, but that was a really good book as well. Like I said in my standalone review, it was just so honest, and I really liked that about that book. It was something that I definitely needed. Being, a instant mom myself with my fiance's daughter, it was definitely an eye-opener and a realization of, understanding that the way I see things is going to be different from the way she sees things, and the way is going to be different from how my mom sees things. So it was really nice. Now, I will say, if you are an Abbi Waxman lover and you were through the roof for A Bookish Life of Nina Hill, or The Bookish Life of Nina Hill, it's not the same. It's like comparing apples and oranges, okay? So I know some of the Goodread reviews, because this book, I believe, it was supposed to coming in June, and then I think it got pushed to July. So there are a few Goodreads reviews, and a lot of people are comparing Nina Hill to this I Was Told It Would Get Easier, and you just can't. It's like apples and oranges. I definitely love this book. I liked Nina Hill more, but for different reasons. it was still really good. I highly recommend it, and I hope that when you have some time that you go and search it out. It was really excellent. It's about a mother-daughter. They're going on a college tour, kind of bus trip. They're visiting a ton of colleges. The teenager, I believe she's like 16, she doesn't really know what she wants to do in life. The mom's a lawyer, and she is just getting through just the same as the daughter is, and they really find themselves and each other in this trip that they go on. So it was really good. I liked it a lot. The next book that I gave 4 stars to is actually a book I finished today. It's the last day of the month. I snuck in with one more. And that is Motherhood Affidavits, which is a memoir by Laura Jean Baker. LJ was actually a professor of mine during my undergraduate at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. I adored her at that time, and I can tell you after reading this memoir, I adore her even more. I can't believe how courageous she is to have written this. I am so blessed to know this person. So this is a story that is an interweaving of 2 parts of her life. First, her life as a mother, and then her life within her husband's world of he's a criminal defense lawyer in Oshkosh. And each chapter goes over a case that he is working on, and then how that kind of not so much affects their life, but how it's kind of viewed during that time. You know, each section she talks about motherhood. She talks about, you know, her kind of addiction to being a mother. By the way, she has 5 kids. So she talks about that and her need to be a mother and her need to have that in her life, and the difficulties that that has between her and her children, her and her husband. It's raw honesty in here, and I can honestly say that halfway through this book, I felt very odd, as if I was looking into her life without permission. I felt like, oh, should I really be reading this? Like, I know this person. I know where she's talking about. I remember knowing her at that time. I felt uncomfortable. And then as I continued moving forward, I felt privileged. I felt so proud and so amazed by her dedication to the written word, her dedication to her children, her dedication to her marriage, her dedication to herself. And I just felt like this woman, I just am so blessed to know her. I am so happy that I read this. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but she was very, courageous is just the word I'm thinking of for what she put in this. I mean, she's giving you everything. I mean, there are things in here that most women don't tell their best friends, don't tell their family, and it was just so well done. So I was very, very pleased to have been given the opportunity. I received this book, I believe, either 1 or 2 summers ago, and I just hadn't gotten to it yet, but I'm so glad that I finally did. If you are a lover of memoirs and true crime, definitely pick this book up. I will tell you some trigger warnings. You know, if you have a weak stomach for, say, for instance, abuse, for animal abuse and or child abuse, abuse in general between adults, drug abuse, that kind of stuff. Remember, these are true cases that her husband defended these people, and they are crimes. So there are a few there. I wouldn't say that it's vulgar in any way. It's just straight to the point and true, and it's written beautifully. I'm so happy, like I said, to have known and know this author. So LJ, if you're watching this, thank you. So if you're looking for a good book, definitely pick up The Motherhood Affidavits by Laura Jean Baker. So the last 4-star book that I snuck in to my reading, which if you saw my TBR for May, half of these books weren't even on there. I just kind of like was mood reading through throughout the month. And then I was asked to help co-host a Harry Potter read-along. And so Hannah from Adventuring Foodie, and I'll put her in the description below, she asked me to help host a read-along. And I was like, Harry Potter? Heck yeah. So she did the first month, which was May, and did Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And at first I was just gonna, you know, go along. I mean, I've read these books so many times, but I'm like, no, you know what? I should probably reread it right before. So I read this in, you know, a couple hours. It's one of the smaller ones. And boy, I'm so happy I did, because there's so many things that pop out to you that you forget that you watch the movie so many times that you forget about all of the things that aren't in the movie. And I love Neville more and more as I reread these books. He deserves so much more from these books than, say, Harry Potter. Like, I get annoyed with Harry the farther I get into the books, and I love Neville more. So I was just really happy to have reread this. This is definitely a solid 4 for me in ratings. And like I said, we are doing that read along. I will put the hashtag. It's Hannah's HP read along is the hashtag if you're interested. I believe depending on who is hosting that month, it could be either a live on Instagram or on YouTube here. We do have a Goodreads group, so I will link that below as well, so that if you want to join that, you may. So in June, we will be reading the next book, which is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So I did read this one as well, so loved it, of course. Then, I never do this, but I could not help myself. I had to rate something in the halvesies because I just could not bring myself to give it a full 5. I don't know why, it just, in my heart, I couldn't. But the next 2 are from my Series of Unfortunate Events series. The next 2, number 4 and 5, so The Miserable Mill and the Austere Academy. I just did a vlog on these. I'll link that above so you can check that out. I love these books. These 2 are where Lemony Snicket really comes out. He starts to really interject himself way more and start talking about himself way more. We start to see a little bit more about secret societies. I don't know why I'm talking weird. And his love for this woman called Beatrice. It's interesting. I love it. So the Miserable Mill, they are in a mill, Lucky Smells lumber mill, and are forced to work, child labor, and mingle with the dummy Count Olaf, horrible man, just ridiculous, and an optometrist who, sneaky devil. So that one's pretty good. And then again, in the Austere Academy, if you saw my vlog, you know I despise this Vice Principal Nero. Blech, Zero. Mr. Nero, Zero. Don't like him. But anyways, they go to this Prufrock preparatory school. And later on, I'm thinking, Prufrock, why does that sound familiar? And then I was like, oh yeah, there is a poem called Something Loves Something of Something Prufrock. And I can't think of it. I'll try to put all the words up here, but it's a T.S. Eliot poem. I actually happen to like that poem, but see, T.S. Eliot, he wrote The Wasteland. And if you've ever read The Wasteland, then you know that T.S. Eliot is a prick. There, I said it. T.S. Eliot believes that he should only have to write things for people who are completely literate. And I'm saying like has read every academic anything ever known to man before they read his poetry. I don't like T.S. Eliot. So anyways, I was like, oh, Prufrock. Yeah, Prufrock Preparatory School. Yeah, I wouldn't like to go there either. So that was a really weird like tangent there, but just so y'all know I don't like T.S. Eliot. So don't recommend him. Cause I won't read him. Anywho, 4.5 on those 2 books. And check out the vlogs. I'll be reading the next one next month. So now we come to our 5-star reviews. I have 2 5-star reviews. The first being, my grandmother asked me to tell you she's sorry. Now, this was not on my TBR for this month. I was actually going to read Britt Marie Was Here by Fredrik Backman, but Jeanette was nice enough to tell me, hey Danny, you should read this book first because Britt Marie is in this one. And then thankfully I listened to my subscribers, so I am listening, and read this and loved it. I loved this. This is so good. I originally put it as a 4, so if you're looking at my Goodreads, if I haven't changed it yet, I put it at a 4, but then when I was thinking about it as I was prepping for this video, it's a 5. It's about this little girl. Her grandmother dies and sets her kind of on this quest to get these letters out to these people to say she's sorry, and it's so good. It's so good. It's about love and forgiveness and togetherness and friendship, and it's so good. And I almost cried. It was so good. I gave this definitely, I'm doing the 5-star review. So I did push Britt Marie back so that I'll probably read that next month because I think that one basically picks up right after she is in this one. So that was nice. So thank you, Jeanette, again for letting me know about that. My last 5-star review goes to a book that I heard about from Chloe Reid's books, and I'll link her in the description. I just happened to be watching her channel, and she did this 12-hour readathon, and she read this book and the second of this series, and I was like, oh, that sounds like something light that I might like. I'll see if it has it on audiobook, and I'll just go ahead and listen to it and see if it's any good. OMG. I listened to Kira Cass's The Selection, which is a YA novel, so not something that I typically read. Oh my gosh. I was like on the edge of my seat listening to this book, and yes, is it like, it's totally The Bachelor, yes. It's totally Hunger Games-ish, kind of, without the fighting, but oh my gosh, I loved it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, it's going to be like another YA novel. It's whatever. I loved it so much that I wanted to immediately download the second one. And my Hoopla doesn't have the second one. It has all of the other ones. It has all of the short stories that go along, but it does not have the second one, which is The Elite. So I did something that I never do because this is how much I liked it. I literally went on to Goodreads and I looked up the synopses for all of the rest of the books because I wanted to know how it continued. I am such a cheater. Oh my gosh, that's how obsessed I was. I was like, oh my God, I need to know. So I went, typed them all in, and I read all the synopses. Because, I mean, it doesn't give that much away, but I mean, it lets me know where a certain character gets. So I'm evil. I can't believe I did that, but I'm obsessed. So I do have a hold on it on my Libby app. So I'm hoping I can get to that soon. It says it has like a 4-week wait. But I'm hoping to get to that because I really like the characters. Basically what this is about, as I totally go past that point, but it's about kind of a dystopian world where it's not America anymore. It's a place called Ilia, and America Singer, her name is America Singer, is from like the Carolina area, but anytime there is a prince, they do what's called a selection, where they bring 35 women from ages 16 to 21, I think it is. They get to go into a lottery, basically, to try to become the next queen through this selection process. And like The Bachelor, they try to win over the prince. There's no roses or anything like that, but they're all like trying to get dates with him and try to win him over. And then there's this whole rebel aspect, and she's like so torn because she has like this other guy that's left back home, but there's a lot of controversy over that, and it's just like, and the first book ends on such a like cliffhangery moment, and you're like, what? You can't do that. So even though it's not like literary, you know, classic fiction, I loved it. So thank you to Chloe Reads Books for showing me that book. Now, since I've been reading it, I've been seeing it everywhere, which isn't that how it goes? So I very much enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to the Elite once I can get my grubby hands on it. So those were all of the books that I read. This turned out to be a long video. I'm terribly sorry, but that is 14 books. Again, that's 3 3-stars. It looks like 7 4-stars. Oh, no, 9 4-stars, 2 4.5 stars, and then 2 5-stars. So that's a pretty good month. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did DNF one book. I moved Britt Marie back, but I also DNF'd Stephen Fry's The Liar. I will try to pick this up again sometime in the future, but it just wasn't thrilling me. I got about 30 pages in, and I had to move on to something else. So I'll probably find this again in the future, but I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for now. And per the usual, I forgot about London. So we are doing pretty good in this. We're about at the halfway point, so we are on track. And we will be definitely reading this more, and I'm just looking at my time. I totally miffed my reading time with Laura today. I'm gonna have to jump on there and apologize profusely. So if you're watching this, Laura, I'm sorry. If you are still here watching, thank you so much for making it to the end. I hope you are having a great day. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. I'd love for you to come back, hit that notification bell so you're reminded of when I do my videos. I typically do videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thursdays being my rapid reviews. So until next time, guys, you know how it goes. Happy reading. Bye.